continue our conversation now and move to talk around the aviation sector. Yes, the aviation sector and how that sector has fared for the year 2024. And with me in the studio to do that, he's live in the studio to talk about this is the General Secretary of Aviation Roundtable, Mr. Olumide Onwayo. Well, let me tell you before we get to that conversation that 2024 has been a year marred by a series of domestic flight mishaps that have raised serious concerns about aviation safety in Nigeria. Well, thank God, not really too bad. Several flights faced emergency landings, some technical issues, and of course, Dana revved off the runway at the Lagos airport at the time. NNPC too, there was a chartered, a deadly crash after an East Wind Aviation helicopter had by the NNPC at a particular time. Of course, the airpiece deal with London Gatwick, that's also something that has happened. Well, let's talk about this, and I introduced him earlier. Mr. Olumide Onwayo is live in the studio, General Secretary of the Aviation Roundtable. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for coming into the studio.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I think I'll allow you do an overview of what you've seen have happened in 2024. A lot of developments in the aviation sector, but highlight some of them that I think are very significant.
Well, like the usual consumer would do, I noticed when you started, you picked up all our flaws, the mishaps, the rough landings, and unfortunately, we had one major crash that we lost lives, the one of the NNPC. Yeah. We've been lucky all through with those aircraft accidents and not losing any life until the last one, the helicopter crash, and that was a sad one for the industry. Even it was piloted by the executive of the National Engineers and Pilots Association, NAPI. You know, but if you take those away, we had some other outstanding things that was achieved in the year. I look at those incidents that you cannot do without accidents and incidents in the aviation industry. It's not uniquely a Nigerian problem. We remember we lost very important personality in the Access Bank right there in the US, and accidents occur. But what everybody works towards is to see how you can minimize and eliminate and avoid any reoccurrence. And that is what we should proudly stand for. And I think the industry has ensured and are working towards that, and to see that we have a very safe industry that will be enjoyable to everybody. But then it can only become enjoyable when people can fly, when they can afford to fly, when they see fares that are friendly and encouraging people to fly. If you have gone on the website, you see people on social media, you see how people are screaming about fares now. Especially if you're going towards the southeast or south route, going as close to about 400 to 500,000 per leg, and that's one area that I think the industry players did not. Maybe they did not expect the surge or the surge in demand considering the state of the economy. Maybe they had used the analysis of what the normal scheduled passengers they had throughout the year to judge what would happen in there. But unfortunately, the surge, the demand has become so high that even if you try to check for a flight now, you will not get a single seat going towards the south or southeast at this period, except you're ready to pay the premium. Maybe somebody's going to sell his own ticket. But that maybe. It was a year whereby, for the first time, we saw a federal minister leading the industry. Yes, there were one or two or three errors on this part, but it can be forgiven for the role he played. He was pro-Nigeria. It was a Nigerian force, and that I was commend the honorable minister for. I think that was a good one. He was able to push and pull the airlines and the industry to say, Nigerians can do it. Let us start the process. Let us follow through. And in all of that, you saw him. Maybe it was a meeting with different organizations to ensure that aircraft is made accessible to Nigeria. He also ensured the during this period push that Nigeria get off the list of those who are not committed to returning aircraft that are leased to the Cape Town Convention, and him signing the CTC. You know, the direction for this aircraft for this lessors to feel Nigeria is a good community to now lease aircraft aircraft too. So and those are some of the things that we saw this year, and Nigeria went up on the ladder of the list of countries that are eligible to do business with based on some of those directions. Again, you could see what they came around to the airport and said, look, the dash table. If you know what that dash table is, that table is just won by the entry. That embarrasses people. You go there, they actually open your box. They work towards that and ensure that pulling all the other agencies together, both those within the aviation and outside the aviation, to see that those that dash table is eliminated, so passengers can freely access the airport and get to their check-in counter. And I think that's also a good one. And I will also commend the MD fan for towards the end of the year. It was as if everybody was up and ready to make sure that the year ends well as we were coming to because we were all coming to the 1 year in office, and then the Rural Drivers Act, the security agents and other staff within the airport who have turned themselves to beggars and touts with the airport, that must stop and that will not be allowed again. And I'm very happy that they're now beginning to use technology. They're just like the NC is doing now. They've all put the different departments' activities online. If you may want to make a request, if you want to make a report, all these are now online, and that has been done by the NCA. And finance also said, look, we're going to increase the cameras at the airport. We're going to provide body cam to those interacting with passengers so we can have live recording of conversations that are going on. And then all these are made to make passengers feel free, but passengers have that ambience of being in an international airport, and that we are also moving up to what they're expecting of us. And you can see it with the modeling that has been done in partnership with UBA and the one done with the Federal Ministry of Internal Affairs, upgrading and reducing person-to-person interaction, moving technologies in at the airport, and I think that's a good way to go. And during the year too, they had to battle the rogue flight that those non-scheduled operators who were using their private jets to operate, and those aircraft were brought without paying some of those custom charges, allowing the government to lose some funds there, and also encroaching on the non-scheduled operators who have registered and were supposed to do business, which was supposed to yield money for the NCA and the industry in general. Because anywhere in the world, it is those in that sector whose demand is elastic that are supposed to yield this money, yield these funds. But because of this rogue flights, they were reducing the cost of charter, and we expected this charter, which is an inelastic demand, to be the one that was going to give us some funds in the industry. So now they are trying to correct the errors in that area, tighten it up, and allow those who are registered for the non-scheduled operation to be the ones that will do that. And that was what you saw, that the customs has asked everybody to submit the documentation on how those aircraft were brought in and the good trade. Some of them went to court, and some of them had to take their case out of court and now negotiating with the government, and some are also paying. So it's a year that, despite all the inflation, the rate of exchange, which was a problem for the domestic operators, the industry tried and strive to get off the mark, and I said, kudos. It will be a better one next year. I hope during this period, we have about 2 or 3 airlines that came on board: ExyJet, UMSA Express, and Medview is almost on its way back. Then you can also talk about the state government. Enugu State is starting their airline very, very soon. Cross River is trying to develop the one they have in there. Yeah.
It's interesting. Let's look at the international affiliation and partnerships too. Emirates is back. United Arab Emirates, their major, that's their flag carrier, is also back to the country. And also we talked about AirPC, my introduction, now going to Gatwick. I think it's still Gatwick. That's medicine.
Yes.
Let's look at all of this and what it also means for our own aviation industry.
Oh yes, during the year, AirPC was able to start the international route to Europe, and the first place was London, and like you said, they got the Gatwick airport slot. They actually, and they are still working towards getting to the Heathrow airport. But today they are working with the Gatwick airline. They have increased the number of capacity and options to Nigerian passengers on that London route. And the United Arab Emirates is back, Emirates Airline. And when they came in, there was that fierce competition. There was that hope that yes, Emirates are going to bring more seats to the international seats availability. And that's you expect, because Emirates is an international carrier. They carry most of their passengers go beyond Dubai. So they're not only competing with the Middle East airlines, they're competing with European airlines and American airlines, because all they take passengers points beyond Dubai, and that's the major strength of the airline. That's why they've always been profitable. And I expect that with their arrival on the scene now, we now have more capacity. I expect that to help with the fares that will be available for Nigerians. So it's not been too. It was not as tight as it was last year on the international. Though the fares are still high on the route based on the rate of exchange of the naira to the dollar. But then Nigerians have more available seats. More options are now open with that, and with that, you just expect that more Nigerians will travel. But the most important thing for us is, as we move into 2025, 2025, we should be celebrating Nigerian airlines operating more on the local airlines, rather than rejoicing about the international airlines that have come into Nigeria or have increased capacity, frequency, or gauge. Well, I think we should be celebrating Nigerian airlines, and I would want to give it to Overland Airways. They have started now, and they are starting on the Gambian route, the Gambian Cote d'Ivoire route, and that will help in linking the West African cities and countries. But then, when we do this, we also look at the cost. I think there's a need for us to review that $100 per passenger on the international route. That charge that fund is giving. We cannot ask those going to Europe to pay $100 and those going to Ghana here going to also pay $100. By the time you convert that $100 to naira and put other taxes, you're looking at almost about 400,000 already going on taxes alone to go to Ghana here, and a bus to Ghana is below 100,000 naira. So we should put some human face and look at those charges. It cannot be a Nigerian thing alone. The ECOWAS community must sit down and address charges and taxes within the West Coast.
So looking forward now for next year, what do you think? Are there quick wins for the aviation industry? You've highlighted some of it, but let's look at more quick wins for them, because a lot of eyes, and also this fare issue. Many will argue that aviation fuel is a bit more available. FX is also being a bit stable.
Yeah, FX is stable, but it's still very high.
Yeah, it is.
Aviation fuel is available. We're not even exporting aviation fuel out of Nigeria. I hope you know Dangote is exporting to Ghana.
Yes, he is.
Aviation fuel to Ghana. So aviation fuel also is now available, but the price has not significantly changed compared to what it was when it was unavailable. So these are the things we expect that, yes, during this period we have seen that they reduce the price of PMS to celebrate this period, and I hope it will continue to go down like that. And if that can be extended to the aviation industry, you also expect that the airlines will respond with fares that are comparable with the input from the aviation fuel section. But then we don't have to lose hope. We have to have this high hope. And like I said, the parties direction has signed that is now giving confidence to the equipment manufacturer and lessors to say, yes, we are ready to give aircraft to companies in Nigeria. That's a huge advantage, a huge boost that should help our airlines next year. We have 2 or 3 airlines that have come on board now, and with them, we expect that they would expand and contribute and bring more capacity in, so we can have more flights within. I also want the regulator to look at that age limit that was imposed some time ago, now over a decade, on aircraft that can be brought in. I think that age limit is time to review it. If airlines of European countries and American and even from the US are coming into Nigeria with aircraft that are older than that aircraft, that are age limit, we should look at that, because if you look for the smaller aircraft that can operate with those aircraft that are termed unviable, most of those aircraft are not more manufactured brand new, but they are repaired, they are upgraded and upskitted to meet modern day trends. So I feel if we can have some of those aircraft in to operate with this smaller airports that we have that are now being termed unviable, it will take the pressure off the trunk route of Lagos, Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt, Lagos, Enugu, Lagos, Kano, and that's what I want to see. We want to see more flights into the smaller airports which will bring more jobs to Nigeria. It will bring more usage of the Nigerian airspace and also increase revenue for all agencies and the general aviation ecosystem. And once that is done, everybody is smiling. Nobody's left behind. And the passengers will also now begin to see options and have better fares for everybody to fly.
Interesting conversation as usual. It's never a dull moment when you're talking aviation with Mr. Olumide Onwayo, and time really moves so very fast. I introduced him earlier as the General Secretary, Aviation Roundtable. Thank you so much. I think our next conversation would be in the new year, God keep us. Thank you so very much for your support all through the year.
I wish you a happy new year.
I wish you the same.